When you think about intimacy, most people assume men want to be in control all the time, that they crave being the dominant one who takes charge and leads everything. But here's the secret most men won't admit out loud. A lot of them actually fantasize about the exact opposite. They crave moments where you step up and completely take over, where you don't wait for him to lead, but instead make him follow your rhythm. This isn't just about switching positions, it's about switching energy. For a man who spends his whole life being expected to lead, make decisions, and stay strong, the moment you confidently flip the script and own the bedroom, it's intoxicating. It shocks his system in the best possible way. What men secretly want is that sense of surrender, not in a way that makes them weak, but in a way that makes them feel free. Imagine pinning his wrists down, straddling him, or kissing him so forcefully that he knows there's no escape. That rush of you being unapologetically in charge wakes up a side of him he rarely gets to express. It's not just the physical move that excites him. It's the boldness behind it. He loves knowing you're confident enough to take what you want without hesitation. And in that moment, it's not just about his pleasure, it's about the thrill of seeing your hunger for him so clearly displayed. Men don't talk about this craving because society conditions them to believe they always have to be dominant. That letting go of control somehow makes them less masculine. But in the privacy of intimacy, the opposite is true. Being with a partner who takes command gives him the rare chance to release that constant pressure. He doesn't have to think. He doesn't have to plan. He just has to surrender and let you lead him into the kind of experience he secretly longs for. That relief, that escape from always having to be the one in charge is liberating in a way he can't even describe. Think about the message it sends when you take control. It tells him you're comfortable in your sexuality, that you're not afraid to express your desire, and that you find him irresistible. That's a huge turn on for men because deep down, what they want more than anything is to feel chosen, to feel like your desire for them is so strong you can't hold back. Dominance, in this sense, isn't about aggression. It's about passion. It's about you showing him, without words, I want you so much I can't wait another second. Even something as simple as pushing him down onto the bed, climbing on top, and holding his face while you kiss him can create an intensity he'll never forget. Because in that moment, he's not wondering if you're enjoying yourself. He's not second guessing whether he's pleasing you. He knows without question. Your control tells him everything he needs to know. And ironically, when you give yourself permission to take the lead, you give him permission to completely let go, which makes the experience infinitely hotter for both of you. The beauty of dominance is that it doesn't need to be constant. You don't have to control the entire night. Sometimes it's the brief, unexpected moments of command that drive him wild. The sudden push against the wall, the surprise kiss where you bite his lip a little harder, the way you hold his wrists just long enough for him to feel the power shift. Those flashes of dominance stay etched in his memory because they tap into a secret fantasy he rarely gets to live out. And here's the part that makes it powerful. It isn't just about the physical act, it's about the psychological effect. Men crave the feeling of being consumed, of being wanted so badly that you can't resist taking control. That's what leaves him thinking about you long after. Because when you own the moment with confidence and fire, you don't just give him physical pleasure. You give him an emotional experience, the thrill of knowing he can trust you enough to let go. That combination of safety and wildness is what makes dominance one of the rough sex moves men secretly crave the most. There's something deeply primal about the way touch can switch from soft to rough in an instant. And that's exactly why men secretly crave things like hair, pulling, and restraints. It's not about causing pain. It's about the charge of electricity that runs through the body when the physical dynamic changes. When you grip his hair, even gently but with intention, it sends a jolt of raw passion straight through him. It communicates something words can't, that you're lost in the moment, that you want him so badly you can't just keep your hands still. And when you restrain him, whether it's holding his wrists above his head, pinning his arms down, or tying them loosely with something playful, you ignite a part of his mind that thrives on intensity. What makes this so powerful isn't the restraint itself, but the meaning behind it. It's the trust, the surrender, the willingness to hand over control in a way that feels both thrilling and safe. For men, hair pulling is often misunderstood. It's not about aggression. It's about connection through sensation. The tug on his hair creates an edge of vulnerability that pulls him deeper into the experience. It amplifies everything else that's happening because it wakes up his body. His senses sharpen, his focus narrows, and suddenly he's more present than ever. What excites him is not just the act, but the realization that you're bold enough to go there, to cross the invisible line between gentle and primal. That's what makes it unforgettable. Restraints work in a similar way. Men spend much of their lives being expected to be in control of their jobs, their emotions, their decisions. In the bedroom, being restrained offers a release from that constant responsibility. When you pin his wrists or limit his movement, you're telling him he doesn't have to think, he doesn't have to act, he just has to feel. That permission to let go is intoxicating. It's rare for a man to have that freedom, which is why the experience sticks with him. He craves the balance of power where he doesn't have to carry the weight, where he can just surrender to the fire of the moment. And it goes both ways. Sometimes it's not about you restraining him, but about letting him restrain you. When you allow him to hold your wrists or pull your hair, you're giving him a kind of trust that heightens the bond between you. He loves the roughness, but even more than that, he loves what it symbolizes, that you trust him enough to let him push boundaries without fear. That trust makes the passion explode because he knows the intensity is welcomed, not forced. For a man, that's incredibly arousing because it makes the connection feel dangerous yet safe at the same time. The beauty of hair pulling and restraints lies in the contrast. One moment things are soft, slow, tender, and the next they're charged, raw, and full of tension. That sudden switch keeps him on edge, keeps his mind engaged, and keeps his body craving more. It's the unpredictability that drives him wild, because he doesn't just want routine, he wants surprise. He wants to feel like every time with you has the potential to unleash something new, something intense. And underneath all of it, what men really crave is the psychology of surrender and power. Hair pulling isn't about control of the head, it's about control of the moment. Restraints aren't about taking freedom away, they're about heightening focus, creating an atmosphere where every kiss, every touch, every movement feels magnified. That's why when you bring these elements into intimacy, even briefly, it leaves a lasting impression. It's not about doing it all the time, it's about weaving it in at the right moment so it explodes with meaning. What makes roughness so addictive for men isn't the roughness itself, it's the story it tells. The story that you want him so much you can't keep your hands from pulling, holding, restraining. The story that he can trust you enough to let go of control, or that you can trust him enough to give it. That's the hidden truth behind these secret cravings. They aren't just about the body, they're about the mind. And when you understand that, when you can give him both the intensity and the safety that comes with it, you're not just giving him pleasure, you're giving him a fantasy he won't ever forget. When it comes to rough teasing, this is where things get deliciously unpredictable, and that unpredictability is exactly what men secretly crave. It's the playful scratches on his back, the sudden nip on his shoulder, the way your nails trace across his chest just hard enough to leave a mark. These aren't just random actions, they're signals that you're fully immersed in the moment, that you've let go of hesitation and given yourself permission to blur the line between pleasure and pain. Men love this because it shakes them out of the ordinary. It's not the careful, measured intimacy they expect. It's messy, raw, and alive. And in that messiness, there's a thrill he can't resist. Scratching, biting, and teasing touches work on a psychological level as much as they do physically. The sting of your nails down his skin creates a rush of sensation that lingers long after. But what really gets him is the thought behind it. Those marks on his body become a reminder that you lost control with him, that your desire was so overwhelming you couldn't contain it. That image of you unleashing yourself is intoxicating for a man. It reassures him that you're not just there out of duty or routine, but because you're consumed by passion for him. That's the fantasy that scratches and bites fulfill, being so wanted that you leave evidence of it on his skin. There's also an element of surprise that makes teasing irresistible. When you go from gentle kisses to a sudden bite on his lip, or from soft caresses to nails digging into his back, it jolts him into the moment. That unpredictability sparks adrenaline, and adrenaline heightens arousal. Men crave that switch because it keeps them guessing, it keeps them engaged, and it keeps the experience from becoming predictable. What excites him most is not knowing what you'll do next. That you might kiss him tenderly 1 second and then pull him closer with a rough edge the next. That tension between tenderness and wildness is what drives him crazy. The beauty of rough teasing is that it's both primal and playful. It communicates, I want you, I can't get enough of you. But it also says, I'm enjoying this, I'm having fun with you. That playfulness is crucial. Men love when intimacy feels alive, when it's not a routine script but an exploration. Your scratches, bites, and whispered teases aren't just about physical sensation. They're about creating an atmosphere where both of you feel free to let go of inhibition. And when you give yourself that freedom, it gives him permission to do the same. It's also about claiming him in a way. When your teeth sink gently into his skin, or your nails leave faint trails down his body, you're marking him. And that's something men secretly crave more than they admit. It's not just physical marks, it's symbolic. It's you saying, you're mine, at least in this moment. That sense of possession is deeply arousing for a man because it makes him feel not only desired, but chosen. He craves that reassurance, even if he'd never put it into words. And here's the part that makes rough teasing so powerful. It blends contrast with connection. On its own, scratching or biting might just feel sharp. But when it's paired with eye contact, with laughter, with a deep kiss right after, it turns into a language of passion. It says, I can push you, and then I can soothe you. That balance is what makes it addictive. Men don't just want intensity, they want intensity woven with care, because that's what makes it meaningful rather than just mechanical. At the end of the day, what men crave about rough teasing isn't just the physical thrill. It's the story those scratches and bites tell, that you're uninhibited, that you're willing to cross boundaries, that your desire for him is too powerful to stay contained. It's not about pain, it's about passion breaking free. And when you bring that into the bedroom, when you give him both the sting and the sweetness, you're giving him an experience that lingers long after the night is over. There's a certain kind of kiss that changes everything, and men secretly crave it more than they'll ever admit. It's not the soft, sweet, careful kiss, though that has its place. What really drives him wild is the kind of kiss that feels urgent, consuming, and a little rough. The kind that tells him you want him so badly you can't hold yourself back. When you grab his face, crash your lips onto his, and kiss him like you're starving, it creates a rush of desire that's far more powerful than anything slow and gentle could ever spark. That aggressive kiss is raw communication. It says, I want you and I need you now. And for a man, that message is one of the sexiest things he can ever receive. It's not just about the lips either. It's the way you use your body in those moments that amplifies everything. When you press yourself hard against him, when you pin him to a wall, or when you straddle him with full weight, it's not only about physical closeness, it's about pressure, dominance, and intensity all rolled into one. That sensation of being held, trapped, or overwhelmed by your body ignites something primal inside him. It reassures him that he's not just wanted, he's needed. And that urgency is intoxicating because it makes intimacy feel less like a routine and more like a storm that neither of you can control. Men crave aggressive kissing and body pressure because it validates them in a way that's deeply emotional. He doesn't just want to be desired, he wants to be devoured. He wants to feel like you're so drawn to him that you can't stop yourself from pulling him closer, from biting his lip a little harder, from pushing him back just to get more of him. That's the kind of passion that leaves him replaying the memory over and over again long after the night is over. It's not about technique. It's about intensity, about making him feel like in that moment, he's the only thing in your world. And here's the part many people miss. When you bring that aggressive energy into kissing and touch, it doesn't push him away, it pulls him in deeper. It heightens his senses, it keeps him on edge, and it reminds him that intimacy isn't just physical, it's emotional fire. That body-to-body pressure makes him feel your desire in a way words never could. The urgency of your kiss tells him something that no amount of polite affection ever can, that you're just as consumed by him as he is by you. There's also an element of surprise that makes it so thrilling. If he expects a gentle kiss and you suddenly grab him, push him back, and kiss him rougher than ever, his body reacts instantly. That shock floods him with adrenaline, and adrenaline heightens arousal. That unpredictability makes him crave more because it breaks routine and reminds him that intimacy with you is never going to be predictable or boring. That's what men secretly want, the feeling that every time is different, that every time could erupt into something intense and unforgettable. The pressure of your body also adds layers to the experience. When you push him against a wall, when you climb on top and press him down into the mattress, when you use your weight to hold him still, those moments awaken fantasies he doesn't even know how to ask for. It's not about overpowering him. It's about showing him that you're just as capable of taking control, just as hungry, just as unafraid of unleashing raw desire. That kind of energy changes the entire dynamic of intimacy because it feels alive, electric, and impossible to ignore. And it's not about being rough all the time. The power lies in the contrast. When you shift from gentle to aggressive, from soft kisses to forceful ones, from a tender touch to pressing your whole body into his, it creates tension. That tension is what men live for. The unpredictability, the constant reminder that with you, passion is never one-dimensional. It's layered, it's fiery, and it keeps him addicted to the experience. What men secretly crave about aggressive kissing and body pressure isn't just the physical heat. It's the emotional reassurance that comes with it. It tells him you don't just like him, you need him. You don't just want closeness, you want intensity. And that intensity is the kind of thing that makes him feel alive, desired, and completely consumed by you. That's why these moments become etched in his memory, because they're not just about sex, they're about passion so powerful it can't be contained. There's one thing that can unlock a man's deepest fantasies faster than touch, faster than any move you make with your body. And that's words. Men secretly crave dirty talk far more than they'll ever admit. But here's the catch. It's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it. A confident voice, bold words, the willingness to express desire without hesitation. That's what makes dirty talk irresistible. Because in that moment, he's not just hearing sounds, he's hearing your raw, unfiltered attraction for him. And that hits harder than anything else you could do. Men live in their heads a lot. They're constantly thinking, analyzing, planning, even during intimacy. Dirty talk snaps them out of that overthinking spiral and throws them fully into the present. When you lean in close and whisper something bold, When you tell him exactly what you want, when you describe what you're going to do or what you love about what's happening, you cut through all the noise in his mind. Suddenly, he's not distracted. He's not distant. He's locked in, completely absorbed, because your words have grabbed hold of him in a way nothing else can. That's why he secretly craves it, because it anchors him in the moment while amplifying every ounce of desire he feels. But what makes it powerful is the confidence behind it. If you say something timidly, if you hesitate, it loses its effect. What excites him is hearing certainty in your tone, hearing that you mean what you say. It's not even about using the perfect words. It's about the energy, the conviction. Even simple phrases said with confidence can make his pulse race, because what he's really responding to is the fact that you're owning your sexuality instead of hiding it. That's what men crave, not just the words, but the boldness behind them. Dirty talk also taps into his fantasies in a way that feels personal. Every man has thoughts he doesn't always share, secret desires he's never voiced. When you speak in a way that hints at those fantasies, whether it's being more dominant, more submissive, more playful, or more raw, it tells him that you're not afraid of that side of intimacy. You're willing to go deeper, to explore beyond the surface. And that gives him a freedom he doesn't find anywhere else. He doesn't have to suppress those hidden cravings because your words make it clear you're open to them. That level of acceptance is what makes dirty talk more than just erotic. It makes it intimate. Another reason men crave dirty talk is that it gives them feedback in the moment. Men are often left guessing if what they're doing is right, if it feels good, if they're satisfying you. Your words eliminate that uncertainty. When you say out loud what you love, when you moan his name with conviction, when you tell him not to stop, you're giving him confirmation that he's doing exactly what you want. That reassurance is magnetic. It fuels his confidence, and the more confident he feels, the more passionate he becomes. And let's not ignore the fact that dirty talk builds anticipation like nothing else. When you describe what you're about to do before you even do it, his imagination runs wild. That mental build-up intensifies the physical experience when it actually happens. Men love that blend of mental stimulation and physical pleasure because it makes the moment bigger than just touch. It becomes a full body, full mind experience. At the core, dirty talk isn't about vulgar words or shock value. It's about honesty, passion, and the courage to express desire out loud. Men crave it because it makes them feel wanted in the most direct way possible. It leaves no room for doubt, no need for guessing. And when you combine that with all the physical intensity, the kisses, the scratches, the pressure, your words become the soundtrack to the experience. They amplify every movement, every sensation, every second. What men secretly crave about dirty talk is the way it transforms intimacy into something unforgettable. It's not just about hearing sexy phrases. It's about knowing you're bold enough to say them, that you're fully engaged, that you want him as much as he wants you. And when you own that space with your voice, when you let your words pour out without holding back, you give him more than pleasure. You give him the fantasy of being so desired, so consumed that you can't stay silent about it. And that's a craving he'll never forget. The truth about roughness in the bedroom is that it only works when it's paired with something deeper, and that's exactly what men secretly crave. The balance of power and care. It's not enough to just pull his hair, bite his skin, or kiss him aggressively. What makes those moments unforgettable is the contrast between intensity and tenderness. Men love the fire, the dominance, the teasing, but what keeps them coming back isn't just the thrill of roughness. It's knowing that behind the wildness there's still trust, safety, and connection. That balance is what turns a physical act into an emotional experience. Think about it this way. When you pin his wrists down, scratch his back, or whisper something bold in his ear, what makes it powerful is not just the raw edge of the act, but the fact that he knows you care enough to keep the experience safe. That care is what allows him to surrender fully. Without that underlying trust, roughness would just feel chaotic or even cold. But when it's wrapped in intimacy, a soft kiss after a hard bite, a gentle caress after a rough grab, it creates a rhythm that excites him on every level. He gets the adrenaline of the wildness and the comfort of the tenderness all at once, and that combination is addictive. Men rarely admit this, but what they want in those moments isn't just to feel powerful or dominated. It's to feel seen. They want to know you're paying attention, that you're not just going through motions but responding to them, matching intensity with care. That balance tells him that he can let himself go, that he doesn't have to worry about judgment or rejection. The rough moves thrill his body, but the tenderness makes him feel safe enough to enjoy it. That's why he craves both, even if he never puts it into words. And here's the irony: the care doesn't weaken the roughness. It actually intensifies it. When you pull his hair and then stroke his face, when you restrain him and then kiss him softly, the contrast makes both sides stronger. The gentleness makes the roughness feel hotter, and the roughness makes the tenderness feel sweeter. That push and pull, that constant switch between wild and soft, keeps him on edge in the best possible way. It tells him that intimacy with you is layered, unpredictable, and alive. What men fear most in intimacy isn't intensity, it's monotony. Routine kills passion. But when you can blend extremes, when you can make him feel both consumed and cared for, you break the monotony forever. He never knows if the next kiss will be gentle or fierce, if the next touch will soothe or sting, and that unpredictability is what keeps him craving more. It's not just about satisfying him physically, it's about stimulating him emotionally and mentally at the same time. And at the end of it all, what he remembers most isn't the scratch or the bite. It's the way you held him after, the way you kissed his forehead, the way you wrapped him close when the fire slowed down. That balance reassures him that the passion you unleashed came from a place of connection, not just performance. It makes him feel chosen, desired, and cared for all in one. That's what elevates the experience from a physical encounter to a memory he can't let go of. So when men secretly crave rough sex moves, it's not because they want recklessness. It's because they want that intoxicating mix of being pushed to their limits while still feeling safe in your arms. They want the rush of losing control without ever losing connection. They want to know that you can unleash the wildest passion while still grounding it in intimacy. That's the balance of power and care, and it's the final ingredient that makes every rough move unforgettable.